Your phone buzzes. No words in the chat. Just a blue bar, a play button, and a little stamp that reads 247. Your thumb hovers. Your stomach drops. Why? You know this feeling. Standing in a supermarket queue when a 3-minute voice note lands and you've got no headphones. Lying in bed at night, phone glowing, deciding whether to open the long one from a family member or just deal with it tomorrow. On a crowded train, holding a single earbud to your ear, hoping nobody else can hear your friend rambling. And here's the story we tell ourselves about it. I must be impatient. I must be a bit cold. Antisocial, maybe. Or scared of the sound of my own voice. Some little flaw in me that a better person wouldn't have. That's the assumption. And by the end of this, you're going to see it flip completely. That dread isn't a defect in you. It's your mind noticing something real, something clever, that most people never put words to. If you don't want to keep misreading your own reactions like this, subscribe. Because this isn't a rare quirk. This is a mass, everyday habit. Around 7 billion voice messages get sent every single day on one app alone. That's nearly one voice note for every living human on Earth, every day. It's become the background furniture of talking to people. And yet a huge number of us quietly brace when that waveform appears. Hang on though, because the people who hate the most are not who you'd guess. Not your grandparents, the ones who grew up glued to their phones. Keep that in your pocket. And in a few minutes, I'll show you the exact half-second where the seesaw tips, where the sender's little pebble becomes a bucket you have to carry. Let's start with that seesaw. Picture 2 tiny price tags floating over the chat. One hangs over the person who sent it. It reads, "Easy, just talk." They walked around the kitchen, thoughts pouring out loose like water, no effort at all. Now look at the tag hanging over you. It's huge. It reads, "Listen fully, right now, at their speed." See the seesaw underneath? Their side barely dips. Your side slams to the floor. That's the whole thing, right there. A voice note is cheap to make and expensive to receive. The effort didn't disappear. It slid. It slid off their side and landed on yours. Think of it this way. Sending a voice note is like dropping a pebble. Light, easy, one flick of the wrist. But receiving one is being handed a bucket and told to carry it. The pebble was nothing to them. The bucket is yours to lug across the room. And this is the first crack in that story about you being cold or impatient. You're not being difficult. Something actually got handed to you. Your mind felt the weight of it before you even pressed play. That knot in your stomach? That's not a character flaw. That's an accurate reading of a cost that just quietly changed hands. But why does audio cost so much more than words on a screen? Let's look at exactly what your brain has to do. When you read a text, your eyes dance. They dart around the message, skip the padding, land straight on the one line that matters. Where do you want to meet? You find that in a fraction of a second. You scan it the way you scan a room, taking in the whole thing at a glance, jumping wherever you like. Now watch the same. You try to handle a voice note. You can't dart anywhere. You're trapped inside a timeline, moving through it 1 second at a time, in the order they chose, unable to jump ahead without losing the thread completely. The important line might be buried at second 90. You have to wade through all 89 to reach it. There's a raw speed gap underneath this too. Your eyes read silently at roughly 240 to 260 words a minute. But comfortable speech runs slower, around 130 to 160. Those are rough ranges. They wobble depending on the language and the reader, but the direction is clear. Listening is like walking a message you could have jogged. You're stuck at their walking pace. That's the difference in one image. A text is a printed map. You glance at it, take what you need, fold it away. A voice note is a tour guide who won't let you skip ahead. You go at their pace, past every shop they want to point out, or you go nowhere at all. And here's the escalation. You might think, fine, so keep them short. But even a short one can't be skimmed. Even 40 seconds strip something from you. So the cost was never really about length. The cost is control. Watch what you actually do with a voice note. You bump it to 1.5 speed to hurry them along. Then they mumble something, so you drag back and play it twice. A little counter ticks up. Played 3 times. One survey found that around 68% of people say they have to replay a note to fully understand it. 68%. Like rereading a road sign you already drove past, then having to reverse to catch it. Feel what that means. With a text, you set the tempo. Fast, slow, back, forward, whenever you like. With a voice note, the sender sets the tempo and you obey. And this is the flip. The whole thing turns right here. Disliking that is not you being lazy or cold or bad with your feelings. It's your mind correctly noticing that work was handed to you and control was taken away. That same survey, around 1,000 adults in one country, found roughly 48% say voice notes take more effort than text, and about 30% feel annoyed just receiving one. That's 3 people in 10 quietly bracing when the bar appears. They're not broken. They're reading the seesaw accurately. So the guilt you feel for being impatient? You can put that down. The impatience was rational the whole time. Now, there's a second cost stacked on top of the first, and it's a different kind of stress entirely. It's not effort. It's not knowing. When that bar says 2:47, you have no idea what's inside. Is it a 5-second running late, sorry? Or a 5-minute emotional download that's going to reshape your whole evening? You can't tell from the outside. It's a wrapped box, and you can't judge how heavy it is until you're already holding it open. With a text, you glance and you know its weight in an instant. You can triage. With a voice note, the only way to find out the cost is to pay it. Here's where it gets sharp. Compare it to the 2 things it replaced. A text lets you reply whenever you want, on your own timeline. A phone call is the opposite. It locks both of you to the same live moment, but at least you get real back and forth for that price. The voice note sits awkwardly in between. It took the pacing loss of a phone call, surrendering your time to someone else. But it dropped the one thing that made a call worth the intrusion. The live conversation. It's the worst of both worlds. It rejected the tyranny of the ringing phone, then smuggled the phone's biggest cost right back into your chat window. And this whole habit? It's barely a teenager. One app added voice messaging a little over a decade ago, another followed soon after. That's it. This now everywhere, love it or hate it behavior, generating billions of clips a day, is a genuinely recent mutation in how humans talk. Then the pandemic hit, more people home in quiet rooms where they could actually listen, and it poured fuel on the fire. Which finally explains that thing I told you to keep in your pocket. The people most annoyed by voice notes are not the oldest. In that survey, millennials, the ones raised on fast texting, reported the highest annoyance, around 37%. The oldest group? Only about 12%. The more fluent you are in quick, scannable text, the more a slow, linear voice note feels like a step backward. Familiarity with the fast thing breeds resistance to the slow one. So the receiver's a victim. Case closed? Not quite. Because now let's flip the camera around, and something strange happens. Now you're the one recording. You hold the phone to your mouth, you talk, and then, just to check, you play it back. And you flinch. That doesn't sound like me. That reflex has a name, voice confrontation, and almost everyone gets it. The evidence for exactly how many is a bit shaky, so let's just say most of us wince at our own playback. Feel what's happening there. The channel is uneditable, unfiltered. With a text you draft, you cut a word, you soften a line before you hit send. With a voice note, there's no draft. It's just you, raw ums and stumbles and all, and once it's sent, it's out there exactly as it fell out of your mouth. So here's the answer to the other thing that's been nagging. If you dread getting them, why do you also freeze when it's your turn to record? Because hating to receive and hating to send are 2 faces of the very same discomfort. Both roles feel exposed by the same feature. One of you carries the effort, the other stands there with no edit button. Nobody in this is the bad guy. Everybody's a little exposed. And that's exactly where this turns warm. Because think about the best voice note you ever got. Someone far away. You heard their actual laugh, a real breath, birdsong behind them, or rain, or the hum of a train. And something in your chest loosened. Here's the beautiful part. The same channel that dumps effort on you is the one that carries all that warmth, tone, presence, the little catch in a voice when someone's trying not to cry. Text strips every bit of that out. The flaw and the gift are not two things. They're the exact same feature. The reason it costs you is the reason it can feel more human than any message on a screen. And this is proof it was never about hating the human voice. You love podcasts, audiobooks, long calls with people you miss. Voices were never the problem. The problem was imposed pace, hidden effort, and not knowing the weight before you opened the box. So you don't have to swear off voice notes, you just rebalance the seesaw. And it's small. Before you record, ask. Mind if I send a quick voice note? That one question hands a little control back. Keep it short. Lead with the point. Don't bury it at second 90, and drop a one-line text alongside, quick voice note about Saturday, 20 seconds. Now they know the weight before they lift it. Look at the seesaw. Each little fix nudges it back toward level. You lower the cost, and the warmth is still right there. Both problems shrink at once. Evening now, soft lamplight. You're on the sofa, and the phone buzzes. A waveform bar again. 2 something, and this time you smile. Not because the effort vanished, it didn't, but because now you can read it. You feel the work it hands you, and you feel the person reaching across the distance to hand it all at once. The seesaw settles level, because that's what a voice note really is. Not rudeness, not laziness. It's a tiny act of trust that quietly asks for a piece of your time. And once you can see both halves, the cost it hands you and the presence it carries, you get to choose to give both a little more gently. The dread you thought made you cold? It only ever meant you were paying attention.